I have a holy voice inside me
Hello, everyone. Let's get
within
started. So
my
wonderful to be here.
heart
Blessed to be here to share
there.
with you my webinar, Release, Express, Empower. My name is Ruth Ratliff, and I'm a voice and vibrational sound professional. I've been a vocal performer for 40 years and a holistic voice coach for over 20 years. And most recently, I became certified and licensed in vibrational sound therapy, which I am very excited about. And I also have level 1 certifications in both sound healing with voice and Shodan Reiki. So, what is so important about this vehicle that we call voice? It is a unique gift that we are all given to allow life to move through us and express itself. Just like when they say the eyes are the window to the soul, I believe our voice is how we express that soul, and it can give us a much deeper experience of our inner landscape. And our voice is really intrinsically connected to and affects our body, mind, and emotions on a deep level. Our voice is also the only living instrument, right? When you're sounding or playing or singing, you are playing yourself. You are the instrument. And it carries our life force energy, and it's one of the most powerful tools that we have for heart-centered communication and healing. And being able to speak and be heard and respected, whether it is in a family or global situation, especially when we're children, with our parents or primary caregivers, is really essential to feeling valued and being able to develop a good sense of ourselves and self-esteem. And if you want to work on really becoming more comfortable with who you are in the world, your voice is a vital place to start. So I wanted to share a study, the results of a study with you regarding nonverbal communication. And that study showed that when explaining how we feel, only 7% of the words that we use have an effect on the listener. So really, it's more about how we say it than our words, okay? Unfortunately, in this society, we are not taught about this, to have an awareness of how much our voices can affect other people and ourselves. So speaking your truth, being outspoken, being loud, is really kind of, discouraged at this point. It's really looked down upon to speak out loud and proud. And also, what really is another aspect of it too, now that our technology has grown, and we really are communicating mostly with typed words, with email and texting and so forth, we are missing the resonance and the life force energy of the people we're communicating with. And doesn't that all bring up misunderstandings? I know we can all relate to this. We're looking at an email at work and we're going, what the heck are they talking about, right? What did he say? Does he really mean that, right? We'll see our ear-brain voice connection gets the intention, the true intention of the words from the tone of voice. So I know I've had this happen so many times I can't tell you, and I always wind up just calling the person to clear everything up. Well, we are also not taught to be fully self-expressed. When you cried as a little child, that developed neural pathways that connected to your larynx, and that became hardwired. When you were a little kid making too much noise, what were you told? Right? You were told to sit down and be quiet, right? Well, more than likely, this causes us to develop unnecessary tensions, and they also become hardwired in our brain and get in our own way of authentic communication as adults. And this may result in the freezing of the fascial matrix. The fascia is the connective tissue. It's like the computer, the internet of the body. And you'll see on the right side of your screen, that actually is fascia, that's fascial tissue. And it carries hormones and other information all around our body. It's very important. And researchers have announced this year that fascia is so important that it is being classified as an organ of the body. So taking care of our fascia, our bodies in general, with mindful stretching and exercise can dramatically affect our physical and emotional health. And this is why it's very helpful to go through the body movements to release our voices. Our cells actually have memory. Our emotional, physical trauma that we have experienced is actually held in the tissues of the body. And our vocal freedom is linked to emotional freedom. And our voice is the vehicle through which trauma can be released. So if you get that feeling of, sometimes you just have to yell, right? And I've had, and that helps to release tension. I have my own story of myofascial release, if anybody's familiar with that. Basically, it's kind of like massage, but not really. They use compression to melt or release the fascial tissue. And when the practitioner was pressing on my chest quite a bit, I noticed my body started to vibrate like crazy. And out of my mouth comes this primal yell that I was not connected to. I did not start. It was like my body was on autopilot. And what was fascinating to me was that my body chose to release whatever trauma had, past trauma had occurred through my voice. Our heart also has a voice, and new research from HeartMath Institute tells us that the heart sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. And if you have a minute, check out heartmath.org for the amazing work that they are doing on the heart's intelligence. And giving voice to our heart, it means speaking our truth, our authentic feelings. I know we've all experienced the feeling of words literally sticking in our throats. We all expend a lot of extra life energy tiptoeing carefully through conversations, saying one thing meaning another, trying not to offend anybody. It's actually so exhausting to try to sanitize our feelings before they even come out of our mouths. So these exercises and tools that we're going to be discussing later will help you manage your emotional energy in a new way. You will be more grounded, aware, and connected to your heart. And when you are authentically expressing your truth from your heart center, people will listen, and hopefully your dog will too. So let's experience some concepts and tools that will help give you a new perspective on your voice to help release some of those negative holding patterns. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Beautiful. And this next quote from Madeleine Albright: "It took me quite a long time to develop a voice, and now that I have it, I am not going to be silent." And she certainly was not. So one of the first tools I want to go over with you is something called power posing. And here we have the ladies of their day. They're doing their own form of power posing. And what power posing is very interesting. Social psychologist Amy Cuddy presented a TED Talk about what she calls power posing, which is adopting a posture of confidence despite how you feel. Dr. Cuddy explains that when someone is being powerful with us, we tend to make ourselves smaller. And she has found out that women are much more likely to make themselves smaller as we feel less powerful in general. And her study showed that body language not only affects how other people feel about you, but how you feel about yourself. And her study measured hormonal levels before and after doing these power posing, and the results showed that actual physiological changes occurred in the body that produced a boost in confidence and assertiveness. So our body language absolutely affects how we think and feel about ourselves. It gives new meaning to the phrase, fake it till you make it. And our posture is integral to not only supporting the vocal mechanism, but it also has an effect on the way the voice is presented. I teach a lot of young people who have not yet developed their sense of poise, and when I demonstrate this superhero stance for them, you should see the looks I get. But then they try it themselves while they're singing, and their face registers this surprise, like when their voices start ringing out with newfound authority and presence. So let's take a look at some of the power poses that you can experiment with. So here we have the top row, okay, these are high power poses, as she calls them, and the bottom row are low power poses. And I don't know if you all, I worked in a office environment for many years, and a lot of my bosses, who were male mostly, adopted this kind of pose or that kind of pose or this kind of pose during a conference. And I was probably one of these down here, oh gee, how am I going to get all this work done? Oh gee, I just want another cup of coffee. Oh, my neck hurts, too much stress. Oh, I just want to go home. This guy looks like he just wants to go back to bed. So yes, there are different poses that you can adopt that can help you. So this is the one that I use with my students, where you just put your hands on your hips and remember Wonder Woman, and you put your legs apart. Remember how she stood pout like she was a real superhero. Believe it or not, that can make a difference in how you feel. So let's take a look next at kinesthetic movement. We can use awareness to connect our body to our voice. I'd like to share with you some concepts and exercises to help you develop something called kinesthetic awareness of your body while you are making sound. Basically, kinesthetic awareness is a sense of where your body is in space and how the different parts of your body are interacting with each other. It's being present to the sensations of your body, kind of like having a little background awareness. We are meant in this life to be very liquid in our movement. So our animation can move through our body so we can live this fully expressed human experience, allowing authentic sound to move through us. In the real world, there are so many times when our voices are shut down physically and emotionally, which can create a freezing of the fascial matrix. If we can release the holding patterns in our bodies, our voices will open up and free expression will follow. So let's take a look at some tips to help you integrate kinesthetic awareness and movement. Stay present to the sensations in your body when you are making sound, speaking, or singing in the shower. Notice how you're breathing between sentences or sounds. Notice how this gal, she's taking a nice deep breath, but I feel like she's kind of up here in her throat, maybe in her chest a little bit. See if you can have a feeling of sensing your body, your breath down here. This is where your diaphragm is, and even have a feeling of opening up or relaxing your lower abdominal muscles and your stomach muscles. So the breath can literally drop down a little bit lower. That will help you. That actually helps open up the throat before you start to speak. Try also using your hands. Very interesting. Hand movements are helpful, as the hands are actually connected to the speech center of the brain, and it kind of can bring up that free flow of words. Also, I mean, have you noticed, like, some people actually have to just about sit on their hands? They can't talk without using their hands. So I have a couple friends like that. Also, try closing your eyes when speaking, and this can give you a deeper awareness of the sound of your voice vibrating in your body without the visual distraction going on, and that can be very helpful as well. And really, these are not quick fixes, but they can be extremely effective in facilitating lasting change in how you experience your voice. Really, the best way to strengthen this kinesthetic sense is to become aware of it in your day-to-day communication, like here at the dinner table with your family. So let's try a couple exercises to connect our breath to our voice now. The power of our voice is supported by the breath. It is literally carried on the breath. It moves through the vocal cords and creates vibrations that produce sound. So our lungs are one of the most powerful organs in our body. On the physical level, they're responsible for circulating oxygen and vital energy, or qi, throughout the body. We breathe in life in the form of oxygen and exhale what is not wanted in the form of carbon dioxide. In traditional Chinese medicine, the lungs represent grief, believe it or not. Often people with chronic or recurring lung issues will have underlying grief that was never processed. And that's interesting to me, given my family history of alcoholism, and also then subsequently losing all three of my family members through tragic circumstances. I had lobar pneumonia when I was a teenager, and then after that, like clockwork, twice a year, I would get really bad bronchitis for years. And it is getting better, less and less now, thank goodness. Healthy lungs are essential for your voice to feel strong and vital. Speaking and sounding and singing with intention can be used to strengthen the lungs. So what else can strengthen the lung energy? The lungs really are nourished primarily through breathing. Any activity that brings in fresh air or brings awareness to the breath can increase the capacity of the lungs, like walking or deep breathing. You don't even have to be walking like jogging. Just, a nice brisk walk can help outside in the fresh air. So here's a breathing exercise that we can try together. I'm going to have you take a deep breath through your nose and do this a few times and really connect your awareness to your physical lungs in your chest. So you're going to inhale. Nice deep breath, okay? Now we're going to do something. We're going to inhale, and then on the exhale, I want you to make a hissing sound like a snake, and think that you are breathing out any negativity, toxicity, grief, or sadness. So that's going to sound like this. Inhale, hiss out like a snake, and breathe out that negativity. Let's do it again. That hissing sound actually engages the abdominal muscles, and they start to move in very slowly. Most of us breathe up very high in our chest, and that means that our throats work way too hard in giving us less access to our true vocal power. Okay, now we're going to breathe in again like we did before, and you're going to exhale on an open ah sound like a sigh. Try to make it very natural and organic, and feel how the ah vowel resonates in your chest. This is the beautiful heart chakra vowel, the ah sound. This is going to help open up that heart chakra. So let's inhale again and exhale on a lovely ah. Ah. I feel that beautiful resonance in my chest. Let's try it again. Inhale. Ah. Some people feel that resonance all the way down into their tummies, all up in their heads. Everyone's different. Now we're going to inhale, and we're going to start with a hiss and then open up to an ah vowel. And it's going to sound like sa, like that. All right, let's try that. So let's inhale. Sa. Let's try it again. You don't have to use my tone. Whatever tone is comfortable for you is fine. This can really help you feel how the voice literally is carried on the breath. It rides on the breath. Very helpful for connecting that breath to the sound. One of the things that helps us a lot before we have to maybe, like before I did this webinar, I did a lot of stretching and shaking and everything, and that's what we're going to do next. Shaking has actually been used in indigenous cultures and ceremonial dances and healings. Animals shake when stressed, and people shake when in shock. It's like the body's way of maintaining stasis or balance. It actually releases stress. So here we're going to do a fun thing. If you can do this, if you're in a place where you could do this, or just do it later, you're going to stand on one foot, and you're going to shake the opposite foot, and you're going to shake the opposite hand. So if you're standing on your left foot, you're going to be shaking, you're going to be balancing on your left foot and shaking the right foot and the left hand at the same time. So it's a bit of a balance exercise as well. Then you're going to stand on the right foot, shake the left foot and the right hand at the same time. Okay, this is called the jangle. And if that is too much of a challenge, it's fine. Just stand on both feet and then just shake up and down and shake your hands, and just think about your hands like just like releasing any tension. Okay, it's very, very helpful. Another thing that you can do is something I call the ragdoll stretch. And this is good. It's basically you're just going to bend over with soft knees to the point that's comfortable for you, for your back. Don't hurt your back. And just let your head really hang. It's just going to like dangle, like those little what are those little things that you see in the back of cars where people have where the little animal dangles its head. I kind of want you to feel like your head's that loose, okay? So you're just going to let that head hang, let that spine stretch out, and then you're going to take a nice deep breath, maybe 2 or 3 nice deep breaths. And when you're exhaling that air, I want you to feel like your spine is just stretching right out. And then take another breath, that last breath, and then when you exhale, you're going to come up very slowly, and your head is the last thing to come up. And this is a beautiful way of just stretching that whole body out and releasing any of that neck tension, which I know is huge for a lot of us, especially those of us that spend a lot of time at computers. Let's take a look at resonance now. Resonance is a wonderful thing for your voice. The definition of resonance is the quality of sound vibrations being deep or having a powerful lasting effect. And that's what, don't we want all our voices to have those attributes? So something we can all do is humming. That's so easy, right? No big deal. Humming actually expands the resonance of the voice, and resonance expands the voice. So there's a double thing there. And humming also produces something very cool. It produces our own happy gas, our happy hormone, nitric oxide, which is a very, very important molecule in the body, okay? So humming, again, is very easy. You don't have to do anything difficult. I'm just going to have you put your, just so you can feel the vibrations, put one hand behind your neck and the other hand on your chest, okay? And now we're going to hum. Hum, hum. You can have fun with it. And notice how you're going to feel your vibrations of your voices are moving up, but they're kind of like right behind your nose. They're in your chest. They may be in your belly. You can hum anytime. Hum in the car, hum along to your favorite music. Hum in the morning. It's a great way to break up any stress or upset. You'll find that you will feel better afterwards as well. One of the ways that we can also get the voice buzzing or have more resonance is using a buzz or a voiced V sound. And this gets the energy moving and also engages the core of our body very fully. So a buzz, you can work like this. Buzz, buzz, like a bee. Okay, that's very helpful. Or you can also use that voiced V sound. I know you have to pretend like you're 5 years old again. So let's take a look at one of my most favorite ways to help the voice, and that's with primal sounds, okay? So why are these helpful? Primal sounds are an instinctive organic sound production that even though you don't remember it, your body remembers through the old brain or the limbic system. And when we use primal sounds with the intention of freeing our voice, it elicits an old brain response that is very reflexive and efficient. It reconnects you with those free and instinctive sounds that you made as a child. So what are some primal organic sounds that we use every day? A lot of primal sounds activate the low body connection, like and you're going to have to channel your inner cave woman for that. So there's oh, ah, or or phew, ow, ow, right? Those are all, most of them are open vowel sounds, which are all good for opening up those chakras as well, okay? And here are some primal sound exercises for empowerment and clearing fear. So you can growl. I'm not a good growler, but that's a very powerful thing to do. You can also do the power pose, that superhero pose, and laugh. Right? Bring it on, right? I can handle anything. How about jumping up and down on the soles of your feet while letting the voice sound? Okay, just letting that sound out while you're doing like shaking or something like that. Chanting and toning are also very good ways of doing that. The sacred vowel sounds are very wonderful for opening up your voice and empowering you. You can also beat your chest like the Tarzan, in the morning in the shower. I actually do beat on my chest because that's thumping the thymus area, which is very helpful. And I do the Om, and I do that every morning in the shower. You can also howl. Halloween's coming up. Howl like a wolf. Also grounding, believe it or not, can be very powerful and empowering, where you stand with bare feet on the earth and breathe deeply and connect down into Mother Earth. Very beneficial because we are grounding our electrical bodies. Also, walking around your house and saying out loud, I am safe. It is safe to be me. This is my house. I am allowed to be powerful and speak my truth. I am safe. And when you feel good doing that, then take it out into the world. Maybe do it in your car. Do it silently to yourself while you're walking around like on a city street or even at work. And here are some affirmations for vocal empowerment. I feel safe as the author of my own feelings and ideas. My body is open and free to express my voice. Shame is not an obstacle to using my voice. I honor the gift of my voice and let go of judgments. I use my voice to speak my truth. My voice has the power to make a positive impact in my life and for others. I think my voice is mine and belongs to me. I use my voice with responsibility and courage. Many of us have been aware for some time that about the very powerful effects of affirmations. And our thoughts have energy. You are absolutely creating thought forms out into the universe with these statements. And your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, your body especially listens to these. When you speak like that, it does listen. And if you're familiar with the very wonderful author Brené Brown, she did a TED Talk on vulnerability that launched her career. One of her great quotes, you can't get to courage without walking through vulnerability. And indeed, it takes courage to share your voice, even to share it, even in the most minor circumstances. Sometimes we are always risking by sharing our voice. And it does take, as I said, tremendous amounts of courage. When we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard or welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak. Beautiful quote by Audre Lorde. Right, because you hold it back, what happens when you hold in or hold back speaking out what you need to say, what the voice of your soul needs to say? You're creating an unhealthy situation in your body, and that comes out. Sometimes in the future, it builds up and it comes out in unhealthy ways, in illnesses a lot of times. The powers of the voice, especially the feminine voice, have been minimized and repressed for centuries, to the point where we do not value our natural abilities, our sensitivities, our intelligence. We sometimes give away our own power with words that are apologetic, people-pleasing, or self-deprecating. Some of us find it very difficult to ask directly for what we need, feeling selfish and self-centered. But our own embodied voice is an integral path for facilitating change and empowerment. The voice is an incredibly powerful tool that can be wielded to hurt or to heal. It is also an ancient pathway to self-realization. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your showing up. And express yourself, right? Express yourself, everyone. It is kind of like you get to a point in your life where you're just saying, I'm going to say what's on my mind. And it is so freeing and so wonderful. If you had any questions, let me know. It was my pleasure to present this to you. And be well. Namaste.